New York City, the skyscrapers, the lights, the heartbeat of America. But beneath the hustle and glamour lies a darker story. A story of power, betrayal, and blood. For nearly a century, 5 criminal dynasties ruled this city from the shadows. They infiltrated unions, controlled industries, corrupted politicians, and left a trail of bodies in their wake. They were called the 5 Families. Tonight, we dive deep into their world. How they rose, how they fell, and how, despite the government's best efforts, their shadow still lingers over New York. The roots of the Mafia stretch back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when Italian immigrants poured into America in search of a better life. Among the hardworking families trying to survive, darker elements crossed the ocean too. Criminal organizations from Sicily, hardened by centuries of vendettas, brought with them a system of loyalty, silence, and fear. In the crowded neighborhoods of Little Italy, extortion became common. Business owners paid protection money, or risked firebombs, broken windows, or worse. By the 1920s, during Prohibition, the underworld discovered a gold mine: illegal liquor. This was the era of bootlegging, speakeasies, and bloody gang wars. The streets ran red as rival groups fought for control. At the center of it all was a young gangster named Charles "Lucky" Luciano. Charismatic, ambitious, and ruthless, Luciano had a vision far greater than street corner rackets. Luciano once told an associate, "Why fight each other when we can make money together?" And so, in 1931, after orchestrating the murders of rival bosses, Luciano restructured organized crime in America. He divided New York into 5 territories, each controlled by a powerful family. Together, these 5 families formed the Commission, a governing body that would settle disputes, share profits, and ensure peace among the underworld. The families were the Gambino family, the Genovese family, the Lucchese family, the Bonanno family, the Colombo family. This system transformed the Mafia from chaotic street gangs into a sophisticated criminal syndicate. For decades, they would dominate New York. From the 1940s through the 1970s, the Mafia reached the peak of its power. They controlled labor unions, infiltrated construction companies, skimmed profits from casinos in Las Vegas, and laundered money through seemingly legitimate businesses. One FBI report from the time stated bluntly, "Organized crime has its hooks in every major industry in New York City." The Gambinos, under boss Carlo Gambino, quietly became the most powerful family. Gambino avoided the spotlight, preferring discretion to flamboyance. His influence stretched from the docks to Wall Street. The Genovese family, meanwhile, thrived under Vito Genovese and later Vincent Chin Gigante. The Luccheses controlled trucking and the garment district. The Bonannos built heroin pipelines that stretched from Sicily to the Bronx. And the Colombos, though plagued by internal strife, maintained a stronghold in Brooklyn. Union corruption was one of their most lucrative schemes. Through the Teamsters and other labor groups, mobsters controlled who got jobs, who got contracts, and who got paid. Millions of dollars in pension funds were siphoned away. The Mafia didn't just control crime. They influenced politics. Judges, police officers, and even senators were rumored to have been compromised. Yet, beneath the surface, cracks were forming. Rivalries simmered. Younger mobsters grew restless. Law enforcement, once blind, began to see. The 1980s brought a new face to the Mafia, John Gotti. Unlike the low-profile bosses before him, Gotti loved the spotlight. With his tailored suits and slicked-back hair, he earned the nickname the Dapper Don. Reporters swarmed outside his trials. Crowds cheered him in the streets. But behind the glamour was violence. Gotti orchestrated the assassination of Paul Castellano outside Sparks Steakhouse in 1985, seizing control of the Gambino family. For a while, he seemed untouchable. Acquittals in multiple trials earned him another nickname, the Teflon Don. But the FBI was closing in. Wiretaps captured damning conversations. And perhaps most devastating, Gotti's own underboss, Sammy the Bull Gravano, broke the sacred code of silence, Omer. In court, Gravano testified, "I committed 19 murders. But I'm here to tell the truth about John Gotti. The betrayal shocked the underworld. Gotti was convicted in 1992 and sentenced to life in prison. His fall marked a turning point. If the boss of the Gambino family could be brought down, no one was safe. The government's secret weapon was the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or RICO. Passed in 1970, it allowed prosecutors to charge entire organizations for patterns of criminal activity. For the first time, mob bosses could be held responsible for crimes ordered but not personally committed. Wiretaps became the FBI's eyes and ears. Tiny microphones hidden in cars, restaurants, and even homes captured conversations that mobsters thought were private. In one recording, Vincent Chin Gigante, who pretended to be mentally ill by wandering around in a bathrobe, could be heard giving clear orders. Make sure the money gets to the union guy. If he talks, he disappears. These tapes shattered illusions and built ironclad cases. One by one, bosses fell. The Colombo family descended into bloody civil war in the early 1990s. Rival factions fought in the streets, leaving bodies in broad daylight. By the time the war ended, law enforcement had decimated both sides. The Bonannos suffered humiliation when boss Joseph Massino became the first sitting boss to flip and cooperate with the FBI. In 2004, he testified in court, breaking a tradition that had lasted nearly a century. The message was clear: Omerta was dead. Though battered, the five families did not vanish. They adapted. By the 2000s, mobsters avoided flashy displays. No more Cadillacs, no more silk suits. The new generation blended in, working quietly in construction, waste management, and stock fraud. A retired FBI agent described it. The smart ones learned the lesson. You don't drive Cadillacs anymore. You blend in. That's how you survive. Even in 2011, the largest mafia bust in U.S. history saw over 120 members of all five families arrested in one sweep. Clearly, the organization still had reach. Today, the mafia is a shadow of what it once was. The heyday of Gotti and Gambino is long gone. Yet whispers remain. Union jobs still mysteriously go to certain companies. Construction contracts still carry hidden costs. Illegal gambling dens still thrive in back rooms. One former associate summed it up. People keep asking if the mafia's dead. The answer? No, it's not dead. It's just smarter. It learned to disappear. The story of the five families is more than just crime. It's a story of America itself. Ambition, greed, betrayal, and survival. They rose from the immigrant streets of Little Italy, built empires of blood and money, defied the law, and shaped a century of New York history. And though law enforcement struck crushing blows, the mafia endures. Smaller, quieter, but not gone. Because as long as there is power to be taken, money to be made, and silence to be bought, there will always be a shadow on the streets of New York. And the question remains: have the five families truly fallen, or are they simply waiting to rise again? If you love this story, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.